Hey, this is going to be a really fast demo of the Node VMS server. You see here a very simple script that I'm going to be executing on the VMS. So let's head over to the project directory. I'm going to run the Node VMS exec command and feed into it the script that we've defined here, which is simply going to maintain the state of a counter and expose an increment function. Okay, that script is now running. It is accessible at localhost 5555 via WebSockets. It uses JSON RPC. The data is going to be stored inside of here, and there is a files archive that is produced automatically as well as a call log. I'm going to use the REPL command to connect to the script's server session, and from the client object I can now call that increment function. And you'll see the result updating there. If I close the session and reopen it, you'll see it's persisted. Okay, now the whole purpose of the VMS is to maintain an auditable log which can be replayed. And so now let's go ahead and run that verification. What this is going to do is download the call log as well as the output state and replay the call log against the script to make sure that the end state is correct. Now, a lot of this is hidden away, but you can take my word for it that what we just did is downloaded the hypercore, we downloaded the files archives, we replayed all the calls, and we checked the outputs and found that all the outputs were equal. To demonstrate in the negative, if I close the server, reopen it, and then access it by REPL again, we'll see that the counter is restarted. That's because our counter is persisted in memory. Because the server didn't record the VM should shut down, this has actually messed up the history of our log. If I try to verify it again, it will fail. That's because our counter reset to 0 when we restarted the VM. But that restart was not recorded inside of the call log. And so from the perspective of the verifier just now, what it witnessed is the counter going up to 7 and then suddenly resetting to 1 and 2. But in the replay, it should have continued on to 8 and 9. To deal with that, we need another script for our backend. This is the persisted counter. The basic logic is simple. It's going to read the counter from the persisted state, increment it, write it to the state, and return that new value. The counter is going to be read from a files archive, and that is the files archive which is listed right here. That files archive maintains all the state of the backend execution. So it is where we read our state from and where we write our state to. We'll close this, and now we'll open a new VM under the persisted counter script. Now we can connect to it and run the increment command, and let's close and restart that script. And as we reconnect, we'll see that the data was persisted to the files archive. Now if we want to actually look at the files archive, we can. So let's open up Beaker real fast. And there's the files archive as you'd expect in the counter. Current state is 6 right there. Now finally, we can verify the call log, and we should see the execution of the log of the history of the log worked exactly as the Node VMS client expected it to. So that's a first initial demo, and we'll work on the UI to help make things a little more clear and show a little bit more about what's going on in the log. But for now, I just wanted to show where we're at.